I've got a new batch of Epidote-Rich rocks from right here in the Shenandoah Valley that are ready to tumble. Most of these have been pre-shaped a bit. I cut down some larger rocks on my lapidary saw, so you'll see that a lot of them already have at least one flat side. Plus, Epidote tends to be a little bit on the softer side, so it rounds out fairly fast. Together, that means this shouldn't be a super long process from beginning to end. To get started, this barrel gets charged up with 80 grit silicon carbide and water, and then it spends a week rolling before I check back in. After that first week, things are looking pretty good. Wet, the colors pop beautifully, but the real test comes when the rocks are dry. You can see the rounding is coming along nicely. A few, like this one here, still have some stubborn spots that need more smoothing. Plus, I think another week of tumbling to get those flat faces looking a little bit rounder would be good. I load everything back up in the barrel and basically restart the rough grit stage. And that extra week made a big difference. This handful all came from the same rock. It has this kind of lime green and dark green pattern that's a bit like a watermelon with some fleshy color mixed in too. Another batch came from a darker green rock with nice little speckles of light green. A couple even had small bits of quartz. Sometimes that can cause issues because the quartz is a tiny bit harder than the rest of the rock, but it seems to be working out fine here. I also tossed in a few stragglers, rocks that aren't really epidote at all. They're more like some sort of granite, but they're tumbling along just fine. And then there's this longer one that's my favorite so far. It's an amygdaloidal metabasalt with pockets of quartz and epidote. These are always some of my favorite local finds. From here, it's on to stages 2 and 3, the medium and fine grit. They work basically the same as the rough grit stage, but with smaller grit sizes and some ceramic media to fill in the gaps between the rocks and make sure every last crevice is reached. And then after that comes the final polish. I use my vibratory tumbler for that part. I've got a whole video explaining how that thing works, but in short, it finishes stages faster and with less grit or polish. Sometimes I'll use it for multiple stages, but this time I only used it for the polish. Once I get everything cleaned off and dry, it's time to see just how well these rocks turned out. Those slices of mottled green watermelon-y stuff, well, those turned out excellent. This big one shrank significantly and didn't take the best polish. It must have been a much softer material than the rest. It took a minute for me to actually match up the end results with where it started. You can see this line of light green though that stayed with the rock the whole way through. And this one is quite interesting. It took a fantastic polish, but you can see that there's some areas of pitting where it changed from the green to the milky quartz. It probably needs a good soak in hot water and a cleaning. It looks like there's a tiny bit of polish that got stuck in those pits or cracks. The darker green speckled rocks are quite pretty, although there's not a ton to really say about them. They took a wonderful polish, but no real surprises here with how they turned out. And that amygdaloidal metabasalt that I loved so much? I am so pleased with how it turned out. The milky white quartz with the shades of beautiful green epidote are stunning against that polished blue matrix. Even those granite-looking pieces I threw in came out well, although I don't think they're actually granite. Overall, I couldn't be happier with the way this batch turned out. I think I'm gonna have to head back and collect more rocks like these. Which one of today's rocks was your favorite?